Alright guys, so I did a bunch of Five Freddy's 2 movie predictions videos, and now I feel like it's time to see what I got right and wrong, and you will see that I got quite a majority of it wrong, because the movie was very surprising, as you saw in my review, my spoiler-free and review with spoilers, and you will also see that I definitely had way too high expectations for this movie. I was expecting a bit too much. You will see in this video, and if you saw my predictions videos, make sure you guys check out those predictions videos, even though the movie's been out, because it's interesting to look back on. I'm not going to cover everything I said in those predictions videos, so you can just go and look at it for yourselves, and you'll see how many high expectations I had for this movie, and how much of it I got wrong, and how many things that I almost predicted. The first prediction is the one animatronic that apparently made Piper Rubio lose her mind. My top prediction was Springtrap. I was fairly certain it would have been him, followed by Fredbear if it wasn't Springtrap, and then it would have been Circus Baby and the Mimic after that. Well, it was Circus Baby, and that was kind of also revealed in a teaser that they posted on their TikTok or something with Piper Rubio's reaction to Circus Baby, and they had the name censored and it just showed the C or something, I think. But it was Circus Baby, so I did have Circus Baby on my list, so I'm half right on this, but I wasn't right with my top prediction with it being Springtrap. I thought it was Springtrap because I didn't know if they would sideline such an important character of Circus Baby in the movie universe, which they ended up doing very much. She was just in one scene in the movie and then was never brought up again. And when I was analysing the newspapers, when I was talking about what that line relating to William Afton expanding out into new spaces was, I came up with the idea that maybe Circus Baby could appear in a secret workshop, which I was pretty much spot on with, but I also said in that statement that maybe it would have been in a secret bunker, a small little bunker, or Circus Baby may not have been fully built and completed as like just a head or something. But in the end, I was wrong. I was pretty confident it was Springtrap, mainly because the statement said one kind of like animatronic. It didn't say an animatronic. I think there was another statement later on saying that there was one animatronic cameo that would really freak the fans out, which was referring to the same character that freaked Piper Rubio out. But because that statement said one kind of like animatronic, you'll see a certain theme here. I, as a FNAF fan and kind of theorist, have to overanalyze everything and just overcomplicate everything, just like the rest of the fans, just like the lore. I have to overcomplicate and look into everything, look into every tiny detail and overanalyze everything, when in reality it's much simpler, especially when we're talking about the movie universe, which has to be understood by a wider audience. So moving on to the Easter egg animatronics in general, on whether they'll appear in the movie or not. Surprisingly, Endo 2 wasn't in the movie at all. We didn't see him at all. Apparently, I heard he was in the parts and services room, but I don't think he actually was there. I haven't heard anyone bring it up, so I don't think he was there. So he was not in the movie, which is really surprising as the most basic Endo skill, and I really thought he would appear just like Tina/Arnold in the first movie. I really thought Endo 2 would appear, but apparently not. The paper powers were there in the movie. They were kind of hard to spot. I didn't really see them because the movie went by so fast, but they were there. They were there on set. I don't think the Paper Buddy animatronic was moved into the office at any point, but I didn't say that in my original predictions video, so I didn't get that wrong because I didn't think they would do that. But a character that did appear in the office in the movie was Shadow Bonnie for a split second. I saw it there, I was very shocked, I was very happy to see him, and I think they did him really good because it's a blink and you'll miss it Easter egg. You won't really notice him, he doesn't really play an important role, he didn't linger around for too much and probably cause confusion. It was just a little simple Easter egg. A character that I was surprised didn't appear in the movie was Shadow Freddy, either the classic version from the first game or FNAF 2 Shadow Freddy. I really thought he would appear because he played a role in the actual game FNAF 2, but he just didn't. There was a rumor going around that he did appear, like you could see his eyes, but I think it was just an arcade machine or something, but Shadow Freddy just did not appear in the movie, and I think that's because Maxine, they probably would have had to tie it to her, so I know that the actress wasn't cast in the movie. It was revealed pretty early on, so maybe this was kind of expected, but kind of disappointing that Shadow Freddy just wasn't in the movie. JJ as well was surprisingly not in the movie at all. I don't think, at least the animatronic, they didn't appear under the desk or anything at some point, so they could have just done some post-FX to the BB animatronic and made JJ under the desk or something, so pretty sad that JJ wasn't there. Also, none of the minor Easter egg characters that appeared in the first movie reappeared in the second movie, like Ella or the Freddy torture chair or Sparky. I think, again, that's probably the same reason why Shadow Freddy didn't appear, because they probably have to tie them in with Jeff's crew that appeared in the first movie and have them return. Maybe they could appear, all these characters along with Shadow Freddy and Maxine could appear in the third movie, assuming that the Fazbear's Fright crew actually found and saved them during the post-credit scene off camera. But I was wrong about them being in the second movie. Also, I don't think there were any hoax animatronics in the second movie. There's no purple guy animatronic, there's no grey puppet, no shadow baby, no modded golden toy Freddy or anything. None of them, unfortunately. I swear there was a behind the scenes photo showing a purple suit that kind of looked like the purple guy animatronic. There was him like standing outside of the pizzeria along with like Freddy or something. I don't remember if that was real or not. Maybe I just dreamed that because I couldn't find that screenshot. I was digging so hard to try and find it, but I couldn't. I was almost pretty much correct when talking about Popcos and candy, because I said maybe they'll just appear as a plushie or a drawing, when in the movie, they did appear on the arcade, so I was pretty close. Kind of a similar situation with the Withered toy animatronics, well, kind of not, because they did get damaged at the end of the movie, and they kind of did get withered, but not to the extent they are on the fan-made Withered toy animatronic characters. And I also said, oh, maybe they'll be destroyed and be put in the FNAF 3 box, which I think is going to happen, because they did get destroyed, so we just have to wait and see for the third movie, and see if I was right on about that. As for the rest of the characters in that video, I'm not going to really talk about them because none of them appeared in the movie. They didn't really have any sort of significance. But let's talk about Springtrap's role. Springtrap, I really thought he was going to have a way bigger role than he did. And when I say way bigger, I still mean like a small role. I was really hoping he would appear in the climax of the movie. He would reawaken and we'd see him move. We'd hear a couple lines from him and that'd be it. But no, he was just sitting there in the post-credit scene. And we also just got a reveal of that full suit of Springtrap. And man, I'm kind of mixed on him. I just did a video talking about this guy. He was a part of a huge leak that just happened, and also Dork and a couple other YouTubers posted their vlogs on set along with photos and video of this Springtrap costume. And they also semi-confirmed that this guy is most likely not the final version of the costume that will appear in the third movie. They're probably going to update him or redo him completely. I'm not 100% sure to what extent they're going to be changing him up. But they only showed off the hands and the head of Springtrap in that video, that vlog that they all posted their photos. These other ones of Springtrap's full body, his full costume in the studio, in this photo shoot. These were all a part of a bigger leak that happened about 10 hours before they announced and posted their photos. So I wonder if the leak was related to them posting their photos or something. I'm not sure. I don't think they're the ones behind the leaks, of course, but I wonder if they were given the green light to post these photos because these other ones got leaked, so they decided to say, oh, you might as well post your photos now. We were going to let you do it later on, but you might as well just post them now because they've already been leaked. But we got our Springtrap reveal officially and unofficially on pretty much the same day, which is kind of weird, kind of suspicious. I wonder if those two things are related or something. But in summary, yeah, this guy kind of looks like a weird cosplay. He doesn't really look like William Afton spring-locked in a yellow rabbit costume, the spring body costume. It really just looks like some guy in a costume, which it obviously is, but if you compare it to a cosplay like the regular Sources one, then man, this guy doesn't really hold a scent of water or whatever. I'm not even sure what I'm saying. A scent of water? I don't know, but he doesn't hold a candle next to him. And since the regular Source was working on the second movie, on the Withereds and all that, maybe he even worked on this costume a bit, I don't know, but hopefully he comes back to do the third movie Springtrap costume. Man, that would look really good if they got him on the team, man, to do that costume. I think they definitely will, man. But it is really cool that they made this costume for the second movie's post-credit scene, just for a really short clip. They just made this whole costume for that. That is really cool. If you guys want to see me dive deeper into this costume, this design, and the leak, then make sure you check out my last video talking about the FNAF 2 movie leak with the photo shoot and all that. But as for my prediction, the only thing I was kind of right about was that he was going to appear in the movie and that he would have a small role and be introduced. Now, let's talk about Golden Freddy. I made a whole video talking about whether Golden Freddy will appear in the FNAF 2 movie or not, or if they would just use the regular classic Golden Freddy design, the same one from the first movie, because apparently there was some leak going around saying that, only the classic Golden Freddy was going to appear in the movie, and that Golden Freddy was not going to appear in the movie. Well, that video means nothing in the end because neither of them appeared in the movie. It was just the kid's spirit. And the kid's spirit kind of just showed up there. He said a couple of lines and he was just freed at the end. And that was it. We didn't see much of the kid's spirit. We didn't see anything of Golden Freddy at all. I guess that leak was technically half true because Withered Golden Freddy didn't appear in the movie. But at the same time, classic Golden Freddy didn't appear in the movie. It was just the kid's spirit. I did have a couple theories on where that leak might have come from and the sources at Blumhouse. How they got that information about Withered Golden Freddy not appearing and only classic Golden Freddy reappearing. Like, did it have something to do with the old leak talking about the Withered classics appearing instead of the Withered animatronics? Or did they just make this up entirely? I really don't know. I feel like they just made it up, or this whole leak thing, it was entirely false. But at the same time, there were some correct leaks from the same people talking about Mangle attacking Vanessa in the car, so maybe they had some sort of backing at the time, but I really don't know. Now, moving on to the Withered animatronics, I was pretty much wrong about them in the end, because I said that, the Withered animatronics, the kid spirits at least, are going to be connected to the classics. The classic animatronics are going to be connected to the Withered animatronics, whether that's through the kid spirits or the Withered animatronics being the same as the classic animatronics, or the Withered animatronic parts being used to fix up the classic animatronics and turn them into the Withereds. And the reason they would attack would be because of the repairs done to turn the classic animatronics into the Withered animatronics, or because of the toy animatronic technology being added into the Withereds with the retrofits kind of like that, with them having a separate villain role from the toy animatronics. Also, again, I thought the Withered classic animatronics might appear in the second movie, but no, it was just the same animatronics from the first movie. They were undamaged. I still have no clue what happened to them between the events when we last saw them at the end of the first movie and when we saw them fight off the toy animatronics in the second movie. I have no clue where they were, why Abby couldn't find them, why Mike couldn't find them. I have no clue. And of course, the Withered animatronics had no connection to the classic animatronics at all. They were just prototypes that were used for spare parts. They had a pretty similar role to the toy animatronics, except they stayed in the pizzeria to attack Mike and stop the security breach. But in that Withered animatronic video, I did come up with the possibility that maybe the puppet was the one controlling them, just like the toys. I wasn't sure if they had spirits or not. In the end, of course, none of them had spirits, neither the toys or the Withereds. And I was right about them being abandoned in the FNAF 2 location, which is why we saw them sitting down there in the trailers and all that, and then being activated. And I was also right about the Withered animatronics being 1.0 and the toys being 2.0, which was kind of showed in the movie, I think. I don't know. It probably went by so fast that you really couldn't really pause and stop and look at the details, like on the computer screen. I'm pretty sure it did say 2.0, 1.0. I really don't remember. I also did come with the possibility that the Withered animatronics were scrapped early on. They were never on stage. They were just used with test audiences, and they did not like them, so they were scrapped and then replaced with the toy animatronics, and those are the ones that debuted with Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. I was kind of correct on that, but overall, I did not see that as being a possibility, because why would they build these 4 animatronics without doing other tests at first? Like, why wouldn't they just show the concepts to children or something and ask if they thought they were scary or something, instead of just building 4 full animatronic suits and then just wasting them? They just weren't used after that. They were just a waste. It felt kind of stupid to me. So that's why I didn't see that as being true. That's why I went to believe that the Withered animatronics did perform on stage. And that was reinforced with the old red Foxy on the carousel. I was kind of wondering why the Bonnie looks more like Toy Bonnie, but still, why would Foxy be the old version, the red version on there? It didn't really make sense. Was that just a plot hole? I really don't know why the old Foxy was on there. Another kind of plot hole was the Freddy Fazbear mask. Why was it the classic 3.0 design, not the Withered 1.0 design, just like the games? Why isn't it that design? I had the idea that maybe it was classic Freddy from the first movie, his head after he was repaired and turned into Withered Freddy, but of course we now know that's not the case. Freddy was completely fine, as we saw at the end of the second movie. Also, I thought the kids' spirits were going to play a larger role in this movie, but they didn't. They were just there at the end. They only just served as a catalyst for the events in the movie somewhat. Just had a minor role, I guess. Because the trailers put emphasis on those missing kids and how Abby wanted to see them again. So I really thought the MCI victims were going to reappear again. Maybe like their spirits would be transferred into the Withered animatronics, like just taking a part of the head, like the main circuitry in the classic animatronics heads, and just put them into the Withereds, or like transfer their souls with Remnant, or even have the puppet transfer their souls to the Withered animatronics bodies. And kind of related to that is the puppet did kind of transfer into multiple different bodies, like with Lisa's and then Abby's, and then also the puppet was inside Toy Chica somehow. I don't get that, but I guess that's kind of related to that, but I didn't really get that right. It was kind of a coincidence, I guess. And also 1.0 is not an early version of the classic animatronics, so the retrofit theory is not true in the movie universe. But at the same time, some aspects of the retrofit theory are true to the movie universe, where the Withereds were unused designs and never on stage. Next up, I want to touch on the Lolbit debate. Was that head Lolbit or was it Mangle? This was kind of revealed a little bit before the movie release, when a bunch of YouTubers posted the set tour and they showed the Mangle head. It looks like it is actually Mangle with the red cheeks, but the pink on it is so bleached. It's such a bleached pink into an orange. Like, I could probably argue that maybe it was supposed to be orange and then it was bleached into more of a pink color. But then again, the red cheek, so I really don't know. Maybe it was actually Lolbit with red cheeks, but I don't know, and I don't really care because this doesn't really change anything. I just wonder why it's just such a bleached color. Even in the 80s, this set before it was Withered, even there it looked really orange. So was it a bleached orange then? It doesn't look like the same color as Mangle in the movie, so I don't get it. Why is it just so weird? I don't know. I don't want to touch this anymore. This is weird. Next up is the grand opening newspaper, and as we know, it was talking about the grand opening with the toy animatronics. It was talking about the toy animatronics. I don't know why they mentioned the 4 main animatronics only. They didn't mention BB and the puppet, or just say and others. They could have just added that and that would have been fine. But it was just not there. They weren't mentioned at all. Maybe they were the new characters in development that was said in the William Afton newspaper. If that's not talking about Circus Baby and the Funtime animatronics, assuming the Funtime animatronics. But it should at least have said and more. And there was a line talking about the animatronics serving as a form of companionship. And I did say in the predictions video saying that, oh, maybe it's relating to the teaser script page with Toy Chica inputting the code into the computer or whatever. Maybe it was related to that where Toy Chica was an ally to Abby. And I said probably it was a stretch when in reality, I think that was probably right. Also, since we now know the grand opening, this newspaper was talking about the toy animatronics when the location first opening. There was no grand reopening at all, unlike what I said in that original video. We know the animatronic voices that was mentioned in the newspaper was just about the toy animatronics. The Withered animatronics also did not have voices. They did not have voices. It was only just the toy animatronics as revealed in the cast. In the William Afton's Early Ambitions newspaper, I really don't know why Henry was not mentioned or Fredbear's Family Diner. I really thought we'd see Fredbear's Family Diner in the movie, at least like even like a photograph of it. At least we'd see Fredbear or something, but no, we didn't see them at all. That was really disappointing, man. I think it definitely will be shown in the third movie. If it's not shown in the third movie, then I just give up for the movie universe. If not, then it's got to be its own spin-off movie, and it's got to be worth it if that happens. But why wasn't Henry and Fredbear's Family Diner mentioned in the newspaper? I heard people in the comments saying, oh, they're just not important. Is Henry not important in the games and the novels? Is Fredbear's Family Diner not important in the novels? I'm crashing out, guys. I'm about to crash out. They should have just had some sort of small mention or something. I don't know why. There was just no small line saying that, oh, William Afton had tried in the past, he had failed, or this isn't his first attempt, he had tried before. Just some other small line, or at least saying, oh, with the help of a couple friends or something in the newspaper, something. Just something small, like I said in that other video when I was talking about my review of the movie. It's kind of like how the Mimic wasn't mentioned in Security Breach at all, when he should have obviously been mentioned, but there was just no mention at all. At least we know with that one, like I said in that video, we know why, because the game was just handled really poorly in the development during the middle of COVID. But this, why aren't they mentioned? They really should have been. We do know Henry was William's business associate, so why wasn't he mentioned? He must not have a big role in the creation of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza or Fredbear's Family Diner if either of them are important in the movie universe at all. I presume that the story must be very different with the past, because then why aren't they mentioned? It just has to be that the story is very different. I don't know where the Yellow Rabbit animatronic came from. I don't know where Golden Freddy came from. I don't know what was Henry's deal with Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, his relationship with William. I don't know how close they were. We're gonna have to wait and see in the third movie. But it looks like the only explanation, if it's not out of universe reason to like avoid spoilers or big clue giveaways to the lore, it must be because the movie universe is very different and it's not at all like the games and the novel trilogy, which is kind of expected with the direction they went with Michael Afton in the second movie. I just want to quickly apologize for just going insane and ranting really badly in that last section. I was over my head in that. And the last two things I want to talk about is Remnant. Remnant was not introduced in the second movie. With Circus Baby appearing, maybe it'll be introduced in the third movie or even in a spin-off movie. I really don't know, maybe one of those two, but Remnant was not introduced in the second movie. Maybe that's for the better. I just don't think they would have had time. I thought it would have been just mentioned and explained that that's why the animatronics come to life or something. And we also did not see William Afton's motives. I really thought we were going to see his motives in the flashbacks, because there's pretty heavy emphasis in the flashbacks. So I really thought we would see a lot more in the flashbacks with William Afton, Matthew Lillard, Skeet Ulrich as Henry, Emily. I really thought we were going to see more of them, but we didn't see any of that, and we didn't see William Afton's motives. We didn't figure out why he was killing in the movie universe. So I bet they're saving that for the third movie. So in the end, was I right about the FNAF 2 movie with my predictions, or was I wrong? Obviously, I got pretty much everything wrong, but I did get some stuff correct, or was at least leaning in the right direction with some of my predictions, but I was overall mostly wrong, and that was mostly because I did the classic FNAF theories thing where I overanalyze everything. I look way too deep and expected too much, when in reality, everything is just much simpler. So I'm going to take that into consideration when we look at the third movie. So let's hope we don't have a repeat of that when that comes around. And like I said, I still think those prediction videos are still a good watch, just to see how wrong I was. Again, I did not go over everything that I said in those predictions video. We'd be here for way too long, but I just covered the most important stuff. I mainly covered what was in the actual movie and the things I predicted and talk about that were at least related to it, or the main ones that I talked about in the prediction videos. So that's it for this one. Bye.